Welcome to our channel. We bring you true crime, disturbing stories, and other things that you may later regret knowing with regular uploads. Join the quickly growing incredibly supportive by hitting subscribe now and turning on notifications. Remember, choosing to be kind can save a life in many ways. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with us. Tasha Lucia was born on April 7, 1987 in Fairfax, Virginia, but at the age of just 6 months, she moved to Charleston, which became her home. She was described by her family as a beautiful soul. An angel truly loved by many. They said that she loved to live and lived to love, continuing her heart while guarded for strangers, always remaining true and open for a family and friends who never doubted her love or loyalty. The family said that she loved the beach ever since she was a young child. Letting her feet sink into the warm sand and her face be washed over by the salty sea, somewhere they say it was their second home. Her family says when Tasha entered her room, her loving presence soothed your soul and her beautiful, genuine laughter invited you to join in. Where there was Tasha, there was always love, bellyaching laughter and silliness. They started, our world has missed out on a truly amazing woman. On Sunday, February 10, 2013, Tasha Lucia was 25 years old. Tasha worked at Locklear's Beach City Grills in Charleston County, South Carolina, normally reliable and punctual. On this day, she wasn't present. When her shift started, co-worker and friend Jessica Nelson realized Tasha was absent and she called her on her cell phone. But there was no answer. As the day drew on, Jessica called her several more times. But still, Tasha didn't answer and didn't return her calls. The entire shift passed by, many continued failed attempts to contact Tasha. Jessica and Tasha, other co-workers, were now growing more concerned about where their friend was. So after work, Jessica and a fellow employee went to Tasha's house at 5 o'clock. That afternoon, she couldn't ignore her gut feeling that something was amiss. She just couldn't shake it. Tasha didn't live by herself. She resided on James Island in Charleston County, South Carolina, with her partner Robert Kronsberg. When Jessica and the other co-worker arrived at Tasha's house, they repeatedly knocked on the door. But there was no response to this. Either they noticed that the living room window was open, or they persevered and were finally able to enter the apartment. Now in the apartment, they heard loud snores coming from one of the bedrooms. They knew right away. The boyfriend Robert was home and he was sleeping on the bed. They woke him up and asked where Tasha was. But they couldn't understand what he replied because he was just mumbling, saying nothing of value. They scoured the entire home in search of Tasha after realizing what Robert was saying made no sense, and then they discovered her laying on the bed in another bedroom. She was covered by a sheet. They pulled back the sheets, revealing a large knife plunged into her chest. There was no chance of reviving their friend. Tasha had already passed. The two women were shocked. They called 911. Tasha's friends knew about her and Robert's relationship history. This is what originally prompted them to take her work absence so seriously. They knew that he had a history of hitting her. They'd even seen her with bruises in the past. But they never thought he would push it this far. They never believed that their friend Tasha would end up as if they found her. The friends were aware that the relationship was poisonous and unstable because they frequently fought. They would break up and then get back together in a seemingly never-ending cycle. Police then arrived and promptly took Robert into custody based on the information and evidence gathered. They announced that they were looking for no one else in this investigation. Robert Kronsberg was charged with Tasha's murder. However, Robert entered a not guilty plea, not helping the innocent image that he wished to portray. Robert's cover photo on Facebook was the horrific chainsaw scene from American Psycho. Robert and Tasha had an on-off relationship and frequently argued. On February 10, 2013. One of those fights escalated and tragically led to Tasha's passing. They claimed that Tasha met up with friends in February. On the 9th, the day before she passed away, the jury saw photos of a happy Tasha that were taken only hours before she passed. The court heard that she had a fun final night on Folly Beach with her friends. That same day, Roberts attended work and afterward he went to a party. However, the prosecution informed the jury that this did not prevent him from trying to start a text message argument with Tasha. According to her friends, Tasha's behavior altered after receiving a text from Robert. When they both arrived home, the fight quickly moved from text message to verbal. The jury was told, "See, the defendant was angry." When Tasha got home, he and Tasha argued about her ex-boyfriend. What he did to the person. He supposedly cared about the disagreement. Then became physical. The prosecution informed the jury. He hit her hard. He hit her because she was yelling for help, according to the prosecution. Tasha's life was taken on February the 10th somewhere between midnight and 2 a.m., meaning that she could have been laid there for 17 hours while her co-workers attempted to phone her detective. Richard Holmes of the Charleston Police Department testified in front of the jury. He backed up the story that Tasha and Robert got into a fight over her ex-boyfriend and their intimacy. Therefore, he ended up attacking her. As a result, the prosecution continued. What is believed to have happened is Tasha was allegedly strangled and choked, and then shockingly, she was beaten with a hammer. Still showing signs of life, Robert still wasn't happy. He went to the kitchen, grabbed a butcher knife and plunged it into her at least 15 times. Later, when her co-workers discovered her, the knife was still inside her. Robert was in bed when the police arrived. He seemingly went back to sleep after Jessica and the other co-worker fled the apartment. When the police roused him, he sat upright and had a crazy look in his eyes. According to a statement given to the court, he appeared to be muttering and mumbling. They were unable to understand what he was saying. A bottle of vodka, some marijuana, ibuprofen, and a knife were discovered by the police on the nightstand next to the bed that he was laying in. When authorities discovered, Robert was covered in blood and wounds on the inside of his arm that appeared to have been self-inflicted. His left wrist had a 3-inch vertical laceration. Robert asserted that he attempted to take his own life twice, but was unsuccessful. In both attempts, the court was informed that Robert also confessed to having used cocaine. Robert was hospitalized. At the time that this was recorded in the audio clip, Roberts is heard admitting that he tried to take his own life after attacking Tasha. Paul Polnaski, one of Robert's friends, testified before the court, but it wasn't in his defense. Paul consented to state the prosecution. They both worked together at a pizza shop on James Island, and the court heard that they were close friends. He claimed that on February 10th, right after Tasha passed at the hands of Robert, Robert's phone sent him a text message with the words 911 written 4 times. Robert edged Paul to contact him back from the office landline rather than his cell phone. When they spoke, Robert said, "Don't freak out, but I just killed my girlfriend." Paul said that because he had known Robert for a long time and even assisted Robert in finding employment, he assumed Robert was only joking. He had worked with Rob the previous evening and was aware that he attended a party after work. So at first, he didn't take it seriously, and the scene where Robert was just intoxicated and messing about. He soon understood, though, that this wasn't a joke. Paul knew Robert and Tasha were bickering that night. Robert potentially had a chance to save her life. Robert was given a life sentence without the chance of parole. However, he is no longer serving this sentence. Robert Kronsberg was discovered dead in his cell at the Broad River Correctional Institution in Columbia on December 6, 2017. He took his own life. What do you think could be done to avoid something like this happening again in the future? Do hit like if you appreciate what we're doing here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.